Okay.
Recording.
Fantastic. I'm still in awe. I've gone back and watched Heidi again. And, you know, from the comments of, you know, creating consultants, show of hands, whose conversations have changed this week? You know, in talking to you, Julianne. So, you know, I just think that, you know, so many things in there of that, you know, just the numbers. The numbers just say it all.
We've had lots of food.
You know, and I think that, you know, to be able to have that focus on how many personally enrolled have you enrolled, you know, how many does it take, you know, and again, as Heidi says, you can't build this business by yourself. You can get to 1 star, but to, you know, really be able to, you know, get to, you know, maxing out a business, you know, they're the reality. That's the reality is be a consultant creating machine, you know, is certainly the mantra that I have, that I've also put on my vision board now. I just added that after last Sunday's call. So, and it's actually just that practice of, you know, that rebate. I did a call, I'm sure, you know, you all have had this week, and did one tonight, and it didn't feel weird. So the more I do it, you know, it's just that weirdness goes. So, you know, and that goal to just make everyone a consultant. You know, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business and how many times you've heard all of this, but that call was a real, just the penny just dropped for me. So it was fantastic. So, so another fantastic week and call, you know, completing the 10 attributes to, you know, of your board of the board of directors, which was lots of fun being able to really, you know, hone in on those, you know, those skills. And then, you know, that 3x3x3, I tell you, I had a couple of days where I didn't hit that, and that momentum slows down. So, you know, I just, that reminder for you know, that's how we build this business. So, so a great week 5, looking forward to now week 6. And again, you know, we have another fantastic, you know, person that, you know, we've got for tonight with the focus on 3-way calls. So I know that in terms of, Kez, do you want me to throw over just a thumbs up maybe just in terms of timing to Loz? You know, I think 7:15 was when we've got Sarah on. So so yeah, so Loz, I might pass over to you in terms of our superstar of the week.
Thanks, Ange. Hi, everyone. So yes, we do have a superstar of the week, and actually she's been very consistent over every single week and every single challenge, and she's always one of the first to upload her stuff. Constantly her face is on there. She is an amazing contributor, and yeah, I'm really pleased to announce that Michelle Femia is this week's winner of all the tasks. So well done, Michelle. And I'm not sure she's on the line. Maybe not. Not tonight, not yet. But yeah, so well done, Michelle. I'll talk to you later about what prize that you might want to get. I'm going to just mute now. Some cool music in the background. Kez, are you on? Would you mind popping on now?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks for muting everyone. So yeah, it's a bit hard. Sorry guys, when people come on and they're a bit late, they come on as unmuted, so we just quickly have to, and Lauren's got the control of that, so because it's her account we're using, so she just has to quickly unmute you. So if you do come on late, it'll be great if you just mute yourself when you come on. So yeah, Becca, oh yeah, she's just done that, cool. Cheers. So yeah, look, this call is going to be about 3-way calls, and we're waiting for Sarah to come on about 7:15. She told me just a while back, because she has a 6-month-old baby, Jordan, and she just said it'd probably be safer to say 7:15 than 7, because she just needs to put Jordan to bed. She's still breastfeeding, and you know what babies are like. Most of us do. I think all of us do. Has anyone here not had a baby yet? Some of us? 1 or 2? Okay, so you'll know that when there's at this time of night, it's pretty hard to get to be precise with your timings depending on the baby. So what I thought I'd do is basically tell you a little bit about Sarah. Sarah and Nat enrolled me. So Sarah's actually the partner of Natalie Cook, who is my beach volleyball gold medal Olympic partner. And they had spoken to me about Isogenics for about 18 months before I finally said yes. And I watched their journey. And Sarah was actually, she played for Canada. So if Sarah does come on, we might just keep an eye out for her, Lauren. She played for Canada beach volleyball, and that's how she met Nat. And she was, I guess when she retired, she was looking for something different, and she was doing a bit of life coaching. And then finally Sarah and Nat both said yes to Isogenics as well. And she just, a whole new opportunity opened up to her. And so the 18 months they were talking to me, I would ask Sarah loads and loads of questions. She's fantastic. She has, I believe she has, actually not sure of her credentials in terms of her university degree, so we might ask her about that. But she has a degree that gives her the ability also to talk highly about the products. So I drilled her pretty much from the beginning about the products and the business. And the reason I asked her, or I'm asking her to come on tonight about three-way calls, is because we believe and we know, and I've seen it happen, and I haven't started using three-way calls until about 3 months ago, believe it or not. So and I've been in this business nearly 2 years. We know that now it's been drummed into us that three-way calls are the bomb. And the best thing about it, or I guess the most important thing about it, is to probably not even call them three-way calls. Because if you start talking about three-way calls to your new people, they're going to be going, and that's kind of how I felt about three-way calls. I'm like, oh, how weird. How am I going to ask someone to get on a call with me? So it does feel a bit weird at first. So I hope that Sarah's going to be able to kind of give us some information about how she started using three-way calls, and now she's booked out solidly with her team, including me and people in my downline, with three-way calls, which is amazing. So she's giving so much support to her team using three-way calls, and in turn now that's finally duplicating with me, and I've actually had three three-way calls this week with one of my team members, a welcome call and a business call, 2 welcome calls and a business call. And it's so great because I can actually educate my team member with the three-way call. So she's learning at the same time as I'm speaking to her team member, her new enrollee. So she's not on the call yet. I might throw it out to everybody here tonight. If you want to unmute yourself, what questions, because I've got a few questions for Sarah, but what questions would you like to ask Sarah tonight specifically about three-way calls, and we'll make sure that we get them all answered. So if anyone wants to jump on and just unmute themselves, if you think about it, like if you're not doing them now, what's actually stopped you, and where's the block? How can we help?
Not so much that. I haven't done a lot of three-way calls, Kerry. I'm starting to, and my team is starting to get me, more involved in three-way calls. I'd love to know how Sarah, really makes sure that her team then are qualifying and providing the information as to where they're at, what they've done, a bit of background, and then how much time does she allocate. So if she's booked out constantly, does she allow 15, I know sometimes it's going to be hard, but Susan Sly is very much about, when at Celebration, and she spoke about how she did her three-way calls, and it's, she's a machine with them. Obviously she does them so often. So that for me is, so timing, how much time does she allocate, and how does she ensure that her team are the ones that are being self-directed in the information they're providing to her? There she is.
There she is. That's an awesome question. Hello. We're just seeing if there's anybody who's got any extra questions, because I've got some cool questions for you, Sarah. But does anyone else want to just unmute? We won't answer your question right now, but I'll add it to the list and we'll chuck it in kind of in the flow of things. Anything specific that they have maybe a block with?
Mine was carried more around who to get. I know probably the first point of call is yourself, but because I'm so new to it, as to how you ascertain who's the best person. Because Carla knew someone straight away at my launch party for someone who was more into the bodybuilding side of it. And it's just, is there a place to find that information, I guess?
Cool. Awesome. We'll get that one answered for sure because Sarah heard it. Anyone else before we get stuck into chatting to this beautiful woman having a shake?
Yeah.
Nothing? All right, cool. So I've introduced you a little bit, Sarah. I've basically said that you are the partner of Natalie Cook to see the link, and that you and Nat enrolled me, and it took 18 months for you guys to basically get me to sign on the dotted line, and I hassled the hell out of you and questioned you to the end of the earth. And obviously I'm completely grateful for that now. But just a bit of background on Sarah's journey. So Sarah started Isogenics in 2013, in January 2013. So you're coming up to, or you've just hit your third year. Sarah and Nat, 5-star Crystal Exec, 7-star Golden Circle. So that means that Sarah and Nat have got 5 Crystal Executives underneath them, and they've hit the 7-star ranking, which is, I believe, 200 cycles in 1 week. Yoo-hoo! That's pretty awesome. And Sarah's background before Isogenics, a retired elite athlete, beach volleyball, represented Canada for a number of years. Sorry, Sarah, I don't know exactly how many. You know, you can
I don't know either. Lots. Not as many as you.
And mother of Jordan, who's now sleeping, I hope. And also, just my last line is the Oprah of Isogenics, because it's not often we get to interview Sarah, because she's normally so good at interviewing other people. So to get a whole heap of good stuff. So to kick us off, so welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for giving up your time.
Thank you.
Us.
Thanks. I just noticed that Marie Doyle's on, like, and I just got really excited. I'm excited about other people too. Hi, Marie. Okay. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Tracy. Hi, everyone else. Sorry, I'm over it. And I need a tan. If I'm going to be the Oprah, I just looked at myself. I'm like, whoa, I need to get more sun. It's like, I got to work on it. Okay. Can you hear me okay, Carrie?
Yeah, perfect. We can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
So, Sarah, perhaps you can start off by telling us your brief journey with Isogenics, and perhaps then go into when you started using three-way calls, and perhaps how that has impacted your business.
Cool. I'm excited about this topic, you guys. It's been an evolution for me, so I'm glad I get to start with my journey, because I didn't come in on a three-way call, and so it took me a really long time to understand its value. So I think I've sort of run the gamut of seeing all sides of it. So for me, 3.5 years ago, I finally decided to try the cleanse, and Nat, my partner Natalie, and I did try it, and I'll admit it to all of you guys that she was pretty much willing to give it a go a lot sooner than I was. And one of the reasons was health was always my highest value, and I was just eating so well on my, Carrie mentioned when I played for Canada. On our team, our coach was a nutritionist as well. I don't know if you knew that, Carrie, that Vince was his background. So for us, food was really important, and all natural food. So for me, I didn't understand what a cleanse could do for me. So within 4 days, I was like, okay, I know many of you have had your moment. Well, for me, it was a quiet moment, because it was very humbling. For maybe longer than Carrie resisted, it took me that long to admit that maybe there was something I didn't know. And I knew it. I really knew something was amazing was happening. I'd only heard about cleansing from like an Eastern tradition sort of thing. So I respected the idea, but I really didn't know anything about it. So I have a neuroscience degree. And once I started to experience that feeling, I went into massive curiosity about why it was working so effectively. And basically, Nat and I kept asking each other, like, why is this working better than anything we've tried before? So I think that for us, it was really experiential. I did cleanse with my mom, my cousin, and 4 other friends. So I saw instantly that it wasn't just working for me. I saw it working, for my 60-year-old mom, my 26-year-old cousin. So that for me was really powerful when I started. So as much as I didn't come in, sorry, yes.
Can I just interrupt there? Because I think a lot of people are probably going to be thinking, how did you get all those people to cleanse with you?
Oh, yeah. Good.
A bit off topic, but it's a good question, I think.
It is a good question. And guess what? Ironically, I find myself just dropping right into sharing that story this way, because
I do a lot of three-way calls, and I always share that story. So I'm going to ask someone this question. Why do you think, by the way, it's obviously true that I cleanse with 6 other people. Why do you think I make sure that that's part of my story every time? So hands up, one person to unmute yourself, because I want to hear, why do you think, yeah, okay, is that Tracy? Yeah, Tracy, just unmute yourself. Why do you think I share that every time?
Because of the different ages, because it's applicable to everybody.
That is, okay, that's one reason. So it's yes, because I did say that, didn't I? I said 60, 26. Yeah, Lauren, why else?
You're sowing the seeds for referral marketing, basically. Letting them know that
Absolutely.
it's a thing to do and it's great to cleanse with friends. And so they see you doing it, they're going to duplicate. Is that right?
Totally. And by the way, Tracy, and absolutely right. It is. It's both of those. It's what you both said in combination, because what I've learned, and by the way, that took time. I didn't understand that was so valuable until later. So 3.5 years, all 6 of those people are still using the products. You guys, that you need to hear as well. So that's the basis. Like, I believe, and I'm really passionate about this, because as I discover this company, the integrity and the values that the company has, I love. So that makes me very confident, and I feel very bulletproof when I'm sharing on a 3-way call, because all the incentives, like you plus 2, them plus 2, which is, really encouraging people to cleanse with other people. For me, I really believe it's ethical. That's me. If I didn't feel it was ethical, I couldn't just be like, hey, you guys should cleanse with other people. I think my experience is the proof. Like, all of us still love the products because we cleanse with each other. It's really, really powerful. So having a community of people cleansing together, for me, basically ensures long-term health. So when I'm on a 3-way call, like, these are some of the seeds, like Lauren says, that I'm planting. And that's the real value of a 3-way call. Because, and okay, sorry, Carrie, I didn't answer. How did we get these people to cleanse with us? We first were going to cleanse with just the 2 of us, and Carmen. So Carmen enrolled enrolled us, but basically the prospecting experience was also from Jen Patch. So Jen Patch is one of the leading income earners in Australia, but she is just like you and I. She's just like us. She really is the girl next door, and Carmen's the introvert, and Nat went to physio school with both of them. So basically they were talking to us about cleansing for a really long time. So when we went to do the cleanse, Carmen it was an offshoot comment. She was pretty new to the business. She just said, hey, why don't you pop something on Facebook and just see who else wants to join you? Now, most of you that might be just like, hello, you're all doing that. At the time, that was not obvious. Okay. So that was something unique to do. So anyway, it was very, very good for a lot of reasons, because the minute we popped it up there, we couldn't believe the number of people that wanted to cleanse with us. What that let us know, like what that said to me was, wow, a lot of people really want to feel better. Like that impacted me. I didn't realize it. I didn't understand how many people out there. Guess what? On a 3-way call, I also talk about that. I mentioned that Facebook thing. I say, we drop something on Facebook, and I just quickly say the words right there. And again, it's like all these little seeds of the potential that you could actually share this with other people. Some people go, oh, no, I'm not doing that. But my story is not a perfect story. It's very much like I was the one who wouldn't tell anybody that I was having great results. Like, I had this really wacky idea in my mind that I shouldn't tell people that I'm losing weight. I'd never lost weight in my life. So I felt like it was cocky or something. It sounds ridiculous to say it now, but I was the one. So I share that. I literally say that a good friend, I didn't say anything about the cleanse I was doing, whereas to that same friend, or it's actually our physiotherapist, Nat did. And I remember Nat coming out of that physio session and her going, oh my God, thank you, Nat. This is exactly what me and my girls have been looking for. And that hit me like, boom. And I often share that more on a call with someone who might be looking to share for the first time. Like, they're kind of interested, but they're nervous. And the reason I share that is because most people have this thing about probably not like me, insecure around sharing, but something about, what are people going to think of me? I don't want to be pushy. I'm not a salesperson. Well, I'm not. So I share the real stories of being like cautious and hesitant. So I think what I'm doing, by the way, this is not like some skill that I have. It was more just my connectivity with people. But I think what I do is I tackle every objection up front without meaning to. It's just that those are all embedded in my story because I had all the objections in my mind. So I just sort of tell the story of how I let go of the objection about all natural foods. It's just, I say on day 4, I realized I had to say to myself, Sarah, you're a dick. Like, what were you thinking all this time? For a lot of people, that's a big moment. A person who isn't in isogenics yet, they're going, oh my God, I don't want to be a dick. I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do what she did. And it isn't like as strategic as I mean it to be, but it really works because it helps people feel comfortable, and it's okay that, that they feel righteous and that they know everything, and just the way that I was feeling. So I think that just helps. So that is a really long answer, Carrie, but I hope I'm sort of describing the value of 3-way calls because there's like a lot of things going on behind the scenes. God, so long.
That's awesome. That was awesome. There was a lot in there, a lot of different things, and I saw people writing stuff down. And what I liked about it wasn't like at the very beginning you started answering the question saying it was an evolution of you getting into doing the 3-way call. So what I'd like to know is like when did you get into them in your journey? So you've been in 3 years now. At what point did you get in? Why did you get in? Do you know if it was like, was there a noticeable difference in the growing of your team?
Look, our one of our bigger uplines is Canadian, and I don't know if you've met him because he's come to Celebration, but for those of you, anyways, his name's Warren Lance. He leads the Take Action call, if you've ever heard that before. He has a really, really crazy Canadian accent, even crazier than mine. Which my mom doesn't even want to admit that he's Canadian. She's like, just doesn't sound right. His accent's so weird. But so, Canadian accents do vary a little. But anyways, Warren would keep banging on about 3-way calls. And I'm thinking, you know what I was thinking? Honestly, when Carrie, you're going to laugh at this. I was like going, yeah, but he doesn't know how good at enrolling we are. Okay. Like, we don't need 3-way calls. We are that awesome. I was really thinking that because I was like, literally thought that a 3-way call was a weakness. Like I needed someone's help. And I'm like, I don't need help. Like we got this. Like that was my thinking. And it was such a flawed thinking because, well, it's arrogant, first of all, but secondly, it was such a limitation for what I could do. So this is why it was a limitation, because I can connect with people because I don't know why I came out of the womb a little bit like that. My mom's like this as well. And I realized that not everyone feels at ease with people the way I do. So therefore, I'm feeling great in that process, but other people that have had fantastic product results aren't feeling great, meaning it's really awkward for them. And here I am in my arrogance, making it about me. So that was the moment where I realized, okay, wow, this is really not about, can I do it on my own? It's, well, because I can do it on my own. So it was like a very cautious beginning. It was with one of my best friends that I got Jen Patch on the line. So the reason, what drove me to that was probably fear, because she was on my real fear list, because she is like the health den. She is just like immaculate. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how's this going to go? And so one of my limitations was Jen is too busy to do this call. So hands up if anybody thinks that the person that they want to get on the line is too busy. Like how I can't ask for their time, or yeah, I mean, that was hugely mine. And then it didn't really help that it took a week to get Jen on the line. That did not help my beliefs at all. I was like, oh my God, see, it is brutal. But the call, and I'm going to shake that little busyness thing in a second. The call was amazing. It not only helped my friend get started, like my best friend, Marie from Montreal, but she spoke into her like a depth about the business, a depth about what we were doing that I'd never heard that. I didn't realize it till then. I was like, wow, I got trained. That's a nugget, you guys. That was another thing I was missing out on, training. Guess what? Jen, her connectivity, like, whoa, I had so much to learn. And when I was sitting there going, I'm a natural connector, I'm so awesome, well, then I'm not growing. I'm not improving. I'm not getting better. So I'm happy to admit all these things. See, that's what I do. I just like bear it all. I'll tell you everything. So please know that if you guys have questions as I'm talking, ask me anything because I'll answer anything pretty much. So yeah, like that's the key. I started, so Carrie, I started with that, and then I slowly started using them. And I think it was pretty quick evolution that people started using me. And one of the things, so the thing I learned about being the person being busy was I made sure that people could use me on a 3-way call easily. Because that was one of the things I wanted to overcome. I was like, I want people to feel like they can get me on the line. And I don't want to give up my whole life. Like, I'm sorry, like for me, I really value my own time as well. So I'm not going to, be breastfeeding Jordan and doing a 3-way call with you guys. That's just not a choice that I'm going to make. But I don't want you to feel like you're encroaching on that. So you don't even have that time available, meaning I don't give that time to you. Therefore, any time that I have that's available, it's there. And so, I have a newborn. I get used for 3-way calls a lot now, like it's been an evolution, and I'm not full. So that's just so that all of you can know that I'm not full. I promise you, the ones that are feeling busy, it's just because of the way that their scheduling is structured. And that's not up to you. If you're trying to get them on 3-way calls, you're driving them to be better. You're driving them to be more systemized. That's a weakness that they've got that you can help them have by using them. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, no, you're actually driving them to be a better leader. I just made that up, Carrie. Was that good?
That was awesome. I like how you said, you do a lot of 3-way calls, because people think that, oh my God, if I offer that to my team, I'm going to be on the phone all the time. And to me, it seems like you are doing 3-way calls all the time. But like you said, you're not full because you still have this full life. So can you tell us, how do you schedule them? How do you let your team know when you're available? Because obviously some of us have got small teams, but if we put this in from the very beginning into our organization, I guess, in our businesses, and make it professional, then as we grow our teams, it'll just evolutionize very easily. So also how long are your calls?
Yeah, I know it's going to be, oh my God. Remember, I had to grow me in 15 minutes. Now there's growth. Like, hello. That is like, yeah, it just felt wrong to actually, because I feel really connected to the person. Like, so if Tracy gets someone on the line that's someone close to her, I feel really connected to them. And so I'm like, 15 minutes just feels rude. But this is when I got over it. Because when you don't do them in 15 minutes, people don't use you. Therefore, you're really ineffective, meaning then I really don't get to help someone. So that was my impetus. So this is how so they're 15 minutes long. That's quite important, okay? So it took me pretty much 6 months to a year to believe that it's important. And the reason I know it is because I have leaders in my team who people tell me when I ask, like, why aren't you using so-and-so? Like, why? You got to use them. They're like, no, because I can't be on the phone for an hour. I can't do it. And I kept hearing that. It was the time. People weren't using them because we don't have an hour. We don't. And guess what? The best thing you can do, like when I was a kid, I used to love going to the buffet. But like me and my brother, we would just pound the buffet, like eat so much. And we felt ill, like super sick at the end. But the best thing you can do is just eat that little bit so you still feel hungry. Like that's when you're playing sport, you don't want to go to the buffet before your match. You really want to feel that hunger. Well, when you do a 15-minute call, people feel like, like give me a bit more. That's a taster. That's good. That feels good. That feels like they're still hungry for more. So what I do is I get the person so let's say Tracy has asked me to be the expert on the call. I get Tracy to tell me at 13 minutes, no matter what I'm saying, I say, Tracy, come on the line, unmute yourself, and you say, Sarah, you've only got 2 minutes. recognizing one's weaknesses, asking people for help. So that's what I do. So that's how I've kept it to 15 minutes. I use something called timetrade.com. Oh, I sounded really American just then. Timetrade.com. Timetrade, timetrade.com. Not that there's anything wrong with being American. I just sounded American there. I don't know. So timetrade.com. And you don't have to use that system. To be honest, it's slightly finicky. It's cheap. It's like $50 a year to use it. So it's cheap. And I'm going to say to you guys, if you don't have a team of more than, I'm going to pluck this out of the sky, out of a team more than 300 people, don't use that system yet. I know that sounds off-putting, because why I'm going to say that is because lots of people get on Time Trade and it's all this big thing and you spend all this time setting yourself and then you never do a 3-way call. I'd rather you just try 3-way calls than get all worked up about the system. And once you start flowing with it, then make that your goal. Okay, cool. Once I'm there, then I'm going to get my Time Trade up and running. It's like booking a massage online, by the way. So it becomes fantastic for people to book you. But someone asked this question. Okay, here's the confusion. We're talking about two things right now. Being the lead of a 3-way call and using the 3-way call. I'm going to say to everyone here, except for Lauren, Carrie, I don't mean to say that. Look, I'm just going to say it. I almost think all of you should be focusing on bringing your person onto a 3-way call. Okay? Bringing your team to those guys for now. I used to think quite differently. I used to try to do this differently, and I'm quite systematic in well, I'm a 50-50, but I can be a little bit systemized in my mind. So I want, cool, okay, this leader, I want everyone that they enrolled, I want them doing a 3-way call with them. That's in a perfect world. Guess what? I'm not full, and I'm really, really good at 3-way calls. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think Lauren's not full, and I think she's going to be really good at 3-way calls. So what that means to me is stop needing to be the person for the moment until we are so full to the brim. Use the highest upline expert for now, and then we'll talk, because I want you to get trained by her. I want you to, yeah. So sorry, Lauren, please go.
No, I was just going to say, it is so true. And I love 3-way calls. I love them. And I often put it out there, anyone. And it just seems to be it's the same people all the time with, the 3-way calls. But I've got so much time where I could slot in those calls. Absolutely. So yeah, don't be afraid. I'm here. Thanks.
And not only don't be afraid, but before you're going, because what happens is, you being the leader, I want you to just be thinking, I'm going to use 3-way calls. The best way to get used to them, to do your first one, is use someone who's already enrolled. Use it as a business build. There's some different layers. So you can bring a new person, a prospect. I'm going to tell you all the different values. And Ben, I'm actually doing this on our 30-day challenge tomorrow. So I don't have my notes, but it's pretty fresh. So a prospect, someone who's new, someone who, like my best friend, right? Someone I would just love to feel as good on Isagenix as I have, as well as experience some of the financial freedom. So I'm like, okay. So she's someone who's not enrolled yet. This person is the best thing about having her on the line with Lauren or Carrie or Jen Patch in this situation was that Jen Patch was not emotionally attached to my friend the way I was. Most of us are emotionally attached to our prospects, even if they're not your best friend, because something in us wants it, and we want it too much. It's called squeezing the hamster. You love your hamster, your guinea pig so much that you're like, oh, it's so cute. It's not breathing. It's not breathing. Well, that's what we do to our prospects. They're not breathing, and we become psychotic. Guess what? We all are like that. It's not because we're so expert or no. Everyone is. When you're attached to something, you're not in your flow. Things that you think matter don't matter. You just, as athletes, trust me, when you're attached too much, oh my goodness, it doesn't flow. So it's the same thing with 3-way calls. So that's massive benefit. also you get trained according to someone who's new. You get to hear, what does Lauren say when they ask about the price? Oh my God, what does she say when they say, yeah, I don't know if I'll start right now. Like, you got to hear how she talks about all those things. And I love objections, especially from your people. When they're my people, I get a little bit more nervous. I'm not the same person when I lead the three-way calls for you guys. And I, like Lauren said, I love it. I feel like one of my other team members uses me all the time, and we always get off the call and she says, I just feel like 10 feet tall. And I said, yeah, me too. I get the same. So everyone's winning. It is like a win-win. So I can't wait to hear why you guys don't use them, but I'll just tell you that I get the same thing. Lauren's like basically can totally relate to what she's saying there. And one of the things that people tell me is, we think you're too busy, we don't want to bother you, and we don't know how to actually get someone on the call. So hands up if you find it really awkward or weird to try to get someone on a call with Carrie or Lauren. Okay. Only one of you. Well, you guys are superstars. Okay. I'm going to, Jenny. Oh, the hands are coming. Okay. Jenny, they were like, they didn't want to leave you alone. Okay. There's, by the way, many ways to skin a cat. But what I do is I always ask the people that are really good at getting new prospects. I say, okay, tell me, like, what are you saying? And what I've noticed is the ones who are good at it, this is the only time in Isogenics don't ask for permission. Almost no one has ever been on a three-way call before. It's the weirdest experience. So don't ask them to be okay with it, because it's going to be strange. So what you want to do is pass right over that moment by saying something like, oh my God, best question. I'm actually going to get Lauren on the call right now. No, I'm going to get Lauren on the phone right now because she knows how to answer that. So you either say something like, I don't know the answer, so I'm going to get Lauren on, or, oh my God, best question. I'm going to get Lauren on the call right now. And guess what? You're going to call Lauren up, or you're going to call Sarah up, or you're going to call Carrie up. So you need someone who's asking Tracy, who do you get? Like, who are the different people? You need at least 2 or 3 people on speed dial. But look, we basically established that none of us are full. So you don't have to, I think people get too caught up with, I need the perfect person. No, you just have 2 people that you can. So you call me, I'm breastfeeding. I'm not going to answer. But you're standing with your friend, right? And you're like, oh, darn it, Sarah's not here. She's probably busy. She's either busy with her newborn, or she's probably busy helping someone, because that's what she does all day. But how about tomorrow? Like, is 10 or 2 good for you? Like, so how about tomorrow? So you've gone from weird moment on the phone. They don't even know what's going on yet, right? They're like, what? We're calling someone? What's happening? Oh my God. Oh my God. Before they can even try to resist, it's just all happening. Then, oh, Sarah didn't answer. So part of you is like, I think I'm happy about that. I don't know. So then you look back at them and you say, oh my God, she's not there. How about tomorrow? Is 10 or 2 good for you? So I don't say, is tomorrow good for you? It's like, which of those times? 10 or 2. So people get to make choices, but the choice isn't, am I going to do a 3-way call or I'm not going to do a 3-way call? The choice is what time? Am I rather going to, like, would I rather get on this call at 10 or 2? So what then would happen with me is you go into my schedule, see what fits, and then you can be all this coordinating behind the scenes, and it's just not weird for them. Now, you have to go out there and bang around with it a bit, meaning you have to be willing to try that moment, have it be awkward, tell the person, oh my God, this is so awkward. I really want you to talk to Lauren, and I'm stuffing this up right now. Like, you have to be willing to say something like that. If you want to be good, you have to be willing to stuff it up, which means you have to go for it a little bit. And every single, sounds like Lauren, similar, everyone who uses 3-way calls uses 3-way calls. Be one of those people. Meaning, once you do one, you always do them again. And this isn't cockiness, and it's not because I'm an expert. It's just because the actual system. So there's a really good podcast called Mastering the 3-Way Call. So there's a couple different ones, but that's just a really good podcast from Isogenics Business. The podcast site. isgenixpodcast.com. Is it isgenixpodcast.com? Like
yeah, I think it is. I think I saw something today.
Somewhere.
Yeah. We'll find it and link it.
Yeah, and guess what? So the best way to utilize mastering the three-way call, like that podcast, is I had a girl do it for the first time. She wrote to me. She's not my personally enrolled, but she's in the 100-pound club, so we've had a really good little connection. And she said, cleansing problem, like a cleanser problem. She wrote me, and I said, oh my gosh, perfect way to use a three-way call. Get me on the phone with him. She says, okay. Next thing you know, she's booked it into she says, she sees the link, does it. And then she goes, my God, I've never done one. I have no idea what I'm doing. I said, perfect. That's the perfect way to do one. Book it in and then shit yourself. That's the right order of doing it. And then she watched the podcast. She's like, oh my God. She Googled it, actually. That's the first thing she did. She's like, I Googled how to do a three-way call. So I just think that's the best way to be successful, is to actually jump and go, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's awesome. So, wow, lots of babbling. This is where Carrie should tell me, 2 minutes, Sarah.
Yeah.
Give me the 2-minute warning.
No, that's all right. Hey, you started off talking about the different layers of three-way calls, and meaning like there's different uses. So we've covered the prospect use. So if you have a prospect and you want to link them in with someone that can answer their question, I think the next one, I'll just go ahead and give you the 4 that I know, and if there are any more, let me know. But the newbie, so the new enrollment, they're just about to start, the welcome call, someone that's used the products for a while and they're now interested in the business, which is a perfect opportunity. And I love that way. If you, like you said before, start someone off on a three-way that's already an associate of Sargenics, and it might not be so scary. So it's getting to that business call. And then the third way that I actually learned today when I was preparing for this call was that one of the leaders from the United States was talking about, if she's going to be talking to one of her downline, one of her associates about something, so whether it's a launch party, how to do her launch party that's coming up in 2 weeks, she actually makes that a three-way call with a couple of other associates that she knows that are at the same stage, and she gets them all on the call together so she can leverage her time. So that was the one that I had never thought of that I will now start to try and do as well. So do you want a comment around, because I've done 2 welcome calls this week and I've never done one before with Carla, and they were kind of really a bit kind of almost odd. Why is this person talking to me? I've already signed up. Like, can you, I felt really a bit odd, but I just spoke anyway, and it's probably going to become more comfortable.
Okay, I think, Carrie, you and I should take this on the road. Like my blah and your organization, we would be masterful. Okay, so the newbie, so the person who's not in yet, then the welcome call. I'm just going to put a caveat here, Carrie, because this might help you with the welcome call. People get me on and I say to them, okay, just so you know, I'm going to do the first 15 minutes by sharing my story. So the real value is introducing them to somebody else in the community, someone else who's championing them. And I'm just there to share my story. I am not there to lead the welcome call unless it's the first welcome call that person's ever done. Okay, so there's 2 different things. I can, as a leader, I can actually be showing, hey, this is what a welcome call is. And then I go through the new interview, the new associate interview. So I do that if it's their first one. But if not, it's not the best use of Lauren or Carrie's time to have them doing all your welcome calls. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just going through, okay, so I think the IsaBody challenge would be great for you. So why do you want to, like, no. Their value is in sharing their story, letting the person know that other people, what they've experienced, and that person's championing them. So Carrie, you would come in for the first 10 minutes or 15, then you'd get off and you'd say something like, now I'm just going to pass it over to you, Troy, so that you can go through the logistics and make sure they know exactly what they're doing for their first day. So that kind of might help, Carrie, in terms of how to use that, the best use of your time. So then I'm going to add one layer is at auto ship time, or when it's the end of month 1, transitioning into month 2. This is a really good time to use a 3-way call, especially at the beginning, because that conversation around maintenance is critical. And by the way, I actually think that that conversation sort of happens before you enroll someone. We used to always say things like, oh, you know, you'd love the cleanse, or we used to say things like the 30-day cleanse. We used to always have that language, and people would do the cleanse and they do it one-off, and then they would just stop. They'd be like, yeah, loved it, awesome, thank you, and that would be it. And we're like, that's so weird. Like, we just totally wanted to keep going. Why wouldn't they? Like, we didn't understand why they wouldn't want to. And what we realized is that the picture that we were painting was like this 30-day picture. So people just thought, hey, cool, that's what you do, right? You just come in for 30 days, you're out. So we started to say things like, you know, this really is, I really want you to start to think this is really a 90-day program. Or sometimes it's like you can be talking in 16 weeks. You know, you can be really talking in the ISO-Body Challenge language if you want. This is really like a 16-week beginning. And so then we would say things like, you know, the way you start is your first 30 days is that real deep cleanse. And it's amazing because then you head into that next phase of what are you going to do now that you've lost the weight? You know, like what are your performance goals? So you're basically walking right over that auto ship conversation, and so that it's not a really scary thing. But there still is a moment where they actually have to do their auto ship for the first time. So it is a good use of a 3-way call because you want to hear what an experienced person is saying at that time. And they're not attached to your person. Remember that. That's really important. They're not afraid that your person's going to stop like you might be. They're like, of course they're not stopping. Who would stop? Stopping's stupid. That, you know, that's the way you, like, it's true. It's just, and you'll have that. You will have that posture because it's totally, you're just like, oh my God, who would do that? That's so stupid. But you don't say it like that, but that is how obvious it is to you that you would sustain your results and that you would continue to explore the depth of your health. So that's the kind of stuff. So that was the other one. Carrie, a person that's interested in the business.
Hang on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Can I just ask you, so with that auto ship conversation, because you know that's an area that I kind of have a bit of a stumble with, I have recently. So with the auto ship conversation, would it be to get the person on that call? So that's what I'm always thinking is that where a lot of people stumble. Once you're on the call and you're in the call and you hear everything, it's awesome. It's like, oh my God, why didn't I do this earlier? But the conversation that on that call at 3.5 weeks or 3 weeks, would it be easy to say something like, look, you've had such great results today. I love to get you on a call with Sarah who can talk to you about how to maintain those results, or who's had the same experience as you've had, or what sort of language would you use around getting them on a 3-way call at that point?
When you study coaching, one of the things they tell you that if you ever have a problem later on in a relationship, it's always a problem of pre-framing, meaning you haven't framed something up at the beginning and then you get to auto ship time and you're kind of screwed. So what I'm getting at here is at the beginning in your new associate interview, you have to know their goal and you have to have it written down somewhere. Because this is what I use, Carrie, at that 3-week mark. You're literally like, so this guy, Gavin, is about to finish his 30 days, right? And I'm like, oh my God, how much weight did Gavin want to lose again? And I know it was weight loss, but I was like, oh my God. So I go back and I'm like, oh yeah. So Gavin wanted to lose 10 kilos. Got it. And by the way, I've been checking in. So I know that Gavin's lost 6. So I text him, Carrie. That's my first thing. And because I've been texting him all along and I'm like, oh my God, Gavin, like you are so close to your 10 kilos. That is awesome. So I really want to discuss what month 2 is going to look like. So that's my text. And I say, look, there's an order that's coming to you, but you know what? It's probably not the one you're going to want. So you can customize this. So let's make sure we talk before Thursday. Oh yeah, you want to get people shitting themselves. Tell them something's coming that they don't want. And I only say that because people don't respond, right, at first. But if you tell them something's coming that they have to action, people are like, they answer. And I only do that because I've had so many people be apathetic about it, because that's the society. There's people are really apathetic in their communication. And so, but the minute you write that, Carrie, I don't know, they all answer, because nobody wants to be sent something. And by the way, nothing will ever get sent that they don't want. Like, I'm going to do something about it before that happens, but they don't know that. So anyway, then Carrie, they're open to it. Yeah. So then in that moment, when I say, let's get on the phone, I'm literally teeing up like who I'm going to have with me. So when that happened, like, so this is where there's not real permission here. I actually say, so when I'm talking to them, I said, I'm just going to tag Lauren into the call straight away, because she's the one that helped me with my maintenance, and she is going to be all over this. And then I give a lowdown. So I give Lauren the lowdown of where Gavin's at. And I say, oh, he's got 4 kilos to lose. He's almost there. He's doing great. But he has really long-term goals with his kids. Like, he really, you know, he's really all about having the energy for his kids. So we're really trying to talk about what month 2 looks like, Lauren. So there's like a really nice intro. That's really big. And by the way, you edit hard.
And you do that in a 3-way PM, because you've done that with me now a couple of times. Are you doing that a lot more now before the call, setting it up?
No. In terms of what I'm telling Lauren?
Yeah.
As yes, sorry. So what I just described was live. Like, I'm literally saying those things live, so Gavin can hear it. He's like, oh my God, Lauren knows my goal too. By the way, everyone loves to pretend that their goal's not there anymore. It's like, oh no, I didn't really want to lose 10 kilos. Like, what happened? So that's what I meant about pre-framing. You have all the information. You're holding people to their own account. If you don't have it, it's much harder. Okay. If you don't have that, you're like, people are just backing down really quick. So if you have that, it's really nice. So Carrie, that was live, but what Carrie's getting at is that the information on Gavin, I would have already sent to Lauren, so that she had some heads up about what Gavin's about and what's going on.
Can I just go back?
So look, people, by the way, yes, yeah.
No, I was just going to go back to...
No, you go.
Just like you said, the pre-framing and what you say before they start. And something that I always say is, you know, we love to race you to your goals, and then we drop you into maintenance. And so what I do is I'll call you at week 3. So I say this right before we even start. And then we'll call you week 3, then we'll discuss what you're going to do for maintenance, because usually by then you'll know what you love, you know what you don't love. We can talk about, you know, the products that you want to continue with, because most people will want to continue in some fashion, and it will cost you probably, you know, it can cost you around a coffee a day equivalent. So that's the actual thing that I say before I even start. So it's so right. You have to pre-frame it before you actually even get going.
And that was nice language as well. It is like, language is funny, because her language that she used just there was really nice. Like, even the word, we drop you into maintenance, and yet you can't be scared that you're not going to have the perfect language. That's the thing I've noticed, is great language is wonderful, but I think great language comes from just being authentic, meaning just being honest. So that's what I really will say to you guys, because Carrie's great, because she's asking me really specifics, but what I think overrides any skill at any time is honesty. Like, telling someone like, oh my gosh, I so want you to continue to feel this good, and I'm afraid that you're going to stop. I really am. I'm afraid that you're not going to keep, like, if that's what you're feeling, say it. Like, that's how you override any kind of need to say it perfect, is really just be honest, because that is what a lot of people are feeling. Like, oh my God, I want this for you so badly, and I'm afraid you're going to stop, and I don't want that for you. Yes, Carrie.
And the other thing that creates the language is 3-way calls. So having someone that's already got that language coming from the heart and feeling that, it's like a little ignition in your own brain going, oh yeah, that's how you can say it. But of course it's going to come out in your own way and from your own heart. But I think that's the beauty of the three-way calls. We can learn so much from listening to people. So, the last couple of weeks I had Sarah on with a young mum who was breastfeeding an 8-month-old, and I obviously hooked her up with Sarah. She's in the same position, and I learnt so much. I was taking notes while Sarah was talking to her. So that's what we need to do. We need to use them not only for us to teach those people, we need to learn from them as well. And I love the way you said it's not just us giving the information for our downline, it's us going back up and going, well, okay, now I've got to learn some more in this area. Who can I pull in to help me talk to one of my team members, and who can I learn from?
And this is, I was like really conscious of wanting you all to write this down, because this is huge. 80% of all the new enrollments that will ever happen in your team, like for the life of you doing Isagenix. So I know for me, I'm a lifer. So 80% of all the new people that are going to come in my team are going to come from other people besides me. Now, you got to get that statement, because what that means is, remember I told you, I'm a good connector? It doesn't matter. If people in my team are not using three-way calls, I'm screwed. You are, because if you don't really, you got to understand that so deeply, because your skill doesn't matter. So therefore, Carrie, that 80% thing really got me, because it meant that there's so many people out there who have such a desire to help others, and they're going to get knocked down all the time. They're going to get knocked back, not because Isagenix isn't good, but because they're just inexperienced. And at the beginning, some of the things that I was saying, I'm like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? Like hilarious. When people would say, is it network marketing? Okay. This was a funny answer that it is not graceful what I was saying. So I needed the three-way call then. I ruined a lot of really good opportunities to talk about this noble profession, but I didn't. You know what I said? I was like, oh my God, it can't be network marketing, because network marketing is for losers. Like, that was my answer to the network marketing question.
Losers!
And you know what that does? It is so, not only a diss to obviously the profession, it's a diss to me, it's diss to everyone else. And like, look at all of you. Look how, honestly, we are all amazing and awesome. And that's what Isagenix has taught me, is that I was the one with the judgments and the attitude. So that's the biggest thing. You know what's going to help you do three-way calls? When you realize it's not about you. Every time I hesitate to use a three-way call, I go, it's not about you, Sarah. And that's basically the answer to everything to do with this business. When you're about to get on stage and you're nervous, or, oh my God, what are people going to think? It's not about you. Oh my God, it's not about you. It's about the 80%. It's about the people that you can really help. And if you always say that, like if there's someone that you really want to talk to, or I'm a hesitator, so I'll be at the restaurant and I'll be loving the waitress and I really think, man, she's great. I really want to chat to her. I think, so I hesitate. And the thing and by the way, I leave the restaurant a lot and go back. Like, I am that happens. Nat makes fun of me every time. But I go back now, because I say, it's not about you. It's about her. It's not about your time or how stupid you feel or that you're not in the mood. It's like, okay. And then I remember my own experience, and then I go back, meaning I remember how my life changed. So I go back. So even if you're a hesitator like me, you can go back in the restaurant. And I say to them, I'm like, okay, I was walking away and then I came back because you really are amazing. And I really want to share something with you. I think you'd be great at it. Are you open to hearing more information? So I do. I say the truth. I came back for you. It's true. So, look, the three-way, yeah. And so I want people to know that, because I think there's sort of this idea that, they're so at ease and they're so this and they're so that. That it's a work in progress. We all are a work in progress.
Hey, Sarah, our time is up. That's bloody awesome. There was so much good stuff. I wrote 1, 2, 2.5, 3, almost 3 pages of notes. So thank you so much. One last thing that you didn't answer, and I just like a really quick answer so we can finish up, is financially, do you have any idea? I don't know, you've probably not done the numbers, but from when you started with Three Ways, have you got any?
I don't have that. I've seen Jackson Parr show it with Alan, and it's really compelling.
Because his guy went like that after he introduced three-way calls, and his business just boomed. And I can understand that because of who Jackson is.
Okay, but I'll tell you what's boomed. What's boomed is in my team, who I know is there and who I can help, like the depth. So my capacity to dig deeper, team, like, I don't know how you'd graph that, Carrie, but it's incredible shift, because how do you even know where some of these gems are? Meaning gems are just people who are calling out for, I want this. And it's made my experience so much better, because when it's just you're personally enrolled, it's like some of them want it, some of them don't. But this is where attachment gets really heavy. It's like, especially with those of you that are just starting, you may have enrolled 1 or 2 people. So your attachment to them is heavy, meaning like you think your life depends on what they do, right? So it gets a bit intense for them too. They're going, oh my God, like, leave me alone, right? Like, whoa. So as you progress, that just loosens up. So it helps that graph of being able to see who really wants this. And therefore my experience of this journey is, my God, I get to help so many people who want this, versus I'm really trying to convince people that they want this, which doesn't feel that, it's just a lot more enjoyable, Carrie, too. So I can't give you the financial, but I can give you the like experiential. Goes up a lot.
Totally get it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. Got to respect everyone's time and like finish off. So thank you so much. Mwah.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Love seeing all your faces.
Oh, you're a legend. That was excellent. That was so
awesome.
good.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you guys have more questions, if questions arise when I get off, please feel free to shoot them. Like if Carrie shoots them to me, I'm happy to answer, as best I can. And maybe I don't I don't go on as much when I write it down. So let's see.
No, it's good. It's good because we did learn more than three-way calls tonight. So thanks, Sarah. That's awesome.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You can stay on while we.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
I got a good voice. Okay.
Oh, cool. Me too. And Ange, do you want to finish us off, or Lozzie, who's
I just amazing. That's just and I know everyone, it's the same. So much writing going on, but I just I think that real thing is that arrogance. I think that often creeps in about, but I know all about what's going on, and it's not duplicatable. Like that's the whole thing that Sarah's just talking about, is showing and the training. And I didn't even think about that whole concept of, of really being able to be more efficient with time. And I love that one also that I around if you're doing a call with somebody, put more of the team in. Again, just makes so much sense. We could all talk about Sarah. She was amazing. Thank you so much, Kerry, for organising that. That's just blown me away. So the task for this week, what else is other than how many three-way calls are we doing? I'm already thinking lots of people, and certainly put it out there. If I can help anyone, I know a lot of us don't know each other's stories necessarily, but I don't know, Kerry, Loz, that might be a good one. Just if everyone can just share just while we're all practicing over the next week, maybe even within just this team. So I'm more than happy to do as many as I can for practice for me, but it's not about me, it's about everyone else. So the So for this week, the task is to post your 3-way call results into the group. It'd be great to see how many you actually did. So really, be able to quantify. 1, if you've never done one before, 1 is better than none. So that's progress. So don't put all that pressure on, you've got to have 10 this week. Just whatever you've been doing, let's just stretch that a bit more. So being able to post that. And the most important thing is, continuing on, with IPA of 3 by 3 by 3, with your follow-up, that may be the perfect way. The follow-up this week, 3 follow-up calls, that are 3-way. It could be a great way to start. So again, thank you. Have a fantastic week, everyone. And I think really from that one, and after the call from last week with Heidi, I'm feeling very, very buzzed. So I love this team.
Hey, next week's going to be all about text message blitzing. So text message blitzing for next week. But that's awesome. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.